Evening, guys. Tonight I just got back from seeing Venom: The Last Dance. Wow. As you can see, I've got my Venom shirt on, and it was kind of sad for me to have to miss out on one of my favorite channels live streams. Well, never mind that. I just wanted. I'm here. Never mind. I, while I'm looking to catch the replay on what I missed home at over at Hold My Dual Shock Reviews, I thought I'd start off tonight by giving you my review of the Venom: The Last Dance movie, and I figured I'd also do and I figured I'll do my best to hang on. I figured I'd do my best to not try to spoil anything, but I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to let people know of what to expect in the movie. I'll try and keep it. I'll try to keep most of the spoilers out as much as I can. Can't say I'll. Well, let's just get okay. Now, first off, we know the movie starts off where we left off from that Spider-Man No Way Home post-credit scene with Eddie getting sucked back into his world and leaving a trace of the symbiote behind on the table. Now, I am still weary of what goes on over at Sony, but soon as Eddie and Venom were pulled back into their world, yeah, yeah, well, they they well they find themselves coming out of a tavern, out of that same kind of tavern that they were in back in back in the MCU. They arrive in the in the in the slums of the Mexican town where they go into one of the buildings, heading down the stairs to discover those poor innocent dogs that were being held hostage inside some cages. They were held hostage quadruple by by a group of drug cartel gangsters who were threatening to kill Eddie for discovering what they were doing wrong. And as you've seen from the trailers, Venom kicks ass and Eddie kick ass. Yeah, and you but what you never noticed from the trailers is that Venom spares that there were actually five thugs, and Venom leaves one of them alive while fighting while chomping off the, the heads of the other four. Yeah, yeah, and I'm pretty sure fans are not happy with how they had to go and tone down all the graphics and stuff. But oh, also, also, hang on, let me just get this up. Hang on, hang on, guys. Let me check the setting here. Oh, sorry, can't do it on this phone. Ah, okay. Now, one thing I can tell you is that yeah, yeah, Venom is something. He really, yeah, yeah. I'm sure many people are going to be annoyed by some of the comedy, but at least it's not as boring or generic as you see in the MCU nowadays. And I'm pretty sure it's still worth the dumb fun of it. It's still worth watching more than anything that keeps coming out of the MCU since No Way Home. Also, while I'm using my phone to str- while I'm using StreamYard on my phone for the first time, I also like to hang on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm kind of sloppy and laggy with speeches, but also when I kick, also when also the it actually also starts with Null at the very beginning, telling us about himself, and he is played by Andy Serkis. Not sure if he's going to come back for the fourth Spider-Man movie, or get snubbed by the studio in favor of rewinding back to what they originally had planned. But I can tell you this: when Sony came, when Null, much like in the comics, very comic accurate with his story. He was imprisoned and betrayed by the symbiotes just as the universe was born, and he's definitely seeking vengeance. He sends the xenophage out to hunt down whoever holds the codex, the key to his freedom. Also, one of them tracks Eddie in the very same Mexican village that where he had Venom bite off the heads of 4 drug cartel thugs who had been holding dogs hostage. They track him and view that Venom's got something that they want. It's called a codex, much like and so far they can't seem to track Venom when he is hiding inside of Eddie and when he's not in his full form. Yeah. So far, after having Eddie is still being hunted down by authorities after the murder, after having Venom bite off Cletus Cassidy's head and eat Carnage up. Some of them think that he murdered Patrick Mulligan, his former police boss, and except of course Mulligan was inside Area 55, a new separate division from Area 51. Now, I'm not going to get too far with that, but well, well, I'm not going to give away too much on Area 51, but Area 55 is where they keep some of the symbiotes that they've discovered, and the head of the units of the Area 55 division is played by the same actor who plays Baron Mordo in the MCU. His name can be tricky to pronounce without looking at it, but he also comes into the tavern where Betty and Venom were, and just like we saw in the trailer, he captures a small sample of the Venom symbiote that was left behind. Yet he also has his people tease him and take him off. Well, sorry about that, guys. But I guess it won't matter though, because the actor who plays him isn't that much special to many people, especially to Transformers fans who are being deterred by all the generic writing and stuff. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. When they even tracked him in Mexico where they found the bodies of those 4 cartel gang. And now, soon as Venom and Eddie hitched a ride on a plane, they were hoping to get onto New York, but then they were both being chased by the xenophage. The xenophage, the Ackley modeled version of the xenophage, not the same kind of hairy insect looking version from the comics, but the Ackley styled version. It still carries those tentacles on its back as it does in the comics. Its jaw and its head is and its skin color texture is what's different about it. Soon as it tracks Venom and Venom on the plane that they hitched a ride on, it leaps super fast, and boy, oh boy, is this thing ultra meta or what? If you really think that Superman is the only thing that can spring that fast, wow. It's like these things have the same leap speed as Superman. I mean, it leaped super fast. It tracked Venom so quickly on a flying airliner that it leaped super fast like Superman. And as soon as it got on the plane, it scared the crap out of Venom. But hey, you're not going to hear Venom say the JC word as you heard in the trailers. Yep, that's another thing that was taken out of the movie that we have seen and heard in the trailer. Yep, sorry guys, but hey, but soon as luckily Venom was able to escape Venom was able to escape. But if you really think that these things are your typical knockout pins, well, they are definitely way more badass and more tough and much more difficult to take out than your average xenomorph and stuff from the Aliens movies. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, of course. And yeah, the Xenoph, yeah, and it crash landed right behind a hippie, the same moving van that Reese Ifans, Alina Ubach, and their on-screen children were driving in just before this thing came back as a whole as the same regenerated and got itself put back together automatically. I mean, these things, if you really think Extremis or anything like the Sentinels is something that makes them something unkillable, God, oh man, you're not. These things, these xenophages are way. The xenophage is in this movie is way more deadly than your average alien xenomorph. Yeah, Venom. Soon as Eddie and Venom landed parachuted to safety, Venom is Venom was paranoid. Venom, if any of you have seen the movie, he was definitely paranoid that they were being tracked by his predator from the comics, the Xenophage, sent by Nalta to get the codex out of him while they're still alive. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, Venom and Null. Yeah, of course, Venom knows the only way to keep the Xenophage from searching for him was to not be in his full form. You know, where he is taking over his host and making him look human shaped, but more like monster height size. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, soon as Venom arrives. Yeah, eventually, eventually they were soon as, and then they come upon this. Then they find themselves the horse that you see that you guys would see riding on the trailer all the way that that, that by putting but by transmitting venom onto the horse, the two started to take off like a super fast rocket, like a super fast Formula One speed car, Formula One racer to be exact, guys. Sorry, it's hard to say and pronounce stuff when I'm also live. Yeah. Once we come to Venom, yeah, clearly they didn't last long. When soon as Venom it arrives, stops to take a drink, that's when they get hunted down by the military. Yeah, led by Carl Mortal, who I like to refer to the actor who played Carl Mortal. Well, Rex Strickland is the name of the character that Carl Mortal actor is playing. Yeah, he sends his platoon after him. He sends his troops after the two. Eddie, Eddie and Venom were separated while they were struggling to stay alive and keep away and not get caught. But then when Venom merges back with Eddie into his full form, that's when the xenophage comes in. hunting after them once again. And God, if you guys really think God, despite this being a PG-13 movie, yeah, and if you guys read the comics, yeah, the xenophage not only eats symbiotes, yeah, it definitely eats people. And if you guys have yeah, and believe me, it doesn't just jump and swallow them whole. I mean, if it's also like a when it, I mean, think of this. Think of the xenophage. I mean, if you guys seen the movie, think of it as your new outer space organic wood chipper, to be exact. When you put a piece, when you know, when you put a piece of wood into a wood chipper, sawdust comes out. Yeah, and if you've guys, yeah, and if you've guys seen the xenophage eat in this movie, eating these two of these soldiers, wow, wow, yeah, that is something. It's like your own alien wood chipper. Yeah, definitely, but it's definitely not sawdust that comes out from some of its back holes. I can tell you that. Yeah, it's kind of what you would expect from something graphic. Fortunately, not. I'm not sure if it definitely. Well, yeah, and it creeps Eddie out. It definitely creeped Eddie out when the xenophage ate two of Rex Strickland's troopers. Yeah, and it definitely. Now, yeah, having eaten two of Rex Strickland's troopers definitely scared the fuck out of Eddie Brock. And pardon me, who's now complaining that he ended up killing one of the troops as well, all because he couldn't hit, all be, all because he felt like he didn't have a choice. And it definitely got Strickland really angry when he after having lost those guys out there. And believe me, the Xenophage is like your evil Ackley Superman version of an Ackley. Yeah, springing super fast. Now, now, right after, of course, in this, of course, if you guys have watched some of the scenes focused on Patrick Mulligan, you'll know that his portrayal as Toxin seems to be much different than that from the comics. In the comics, he was pretty much red and sometimes a mixture of different colors. But in here in the movie, he was great. His live action movie version of Toxin was actually green. We mistook him for Lasher, but don't get me wrong. I think we do get Lasher in this movie, but it's definitely not. But it's definitely not the same green alien that we saw in the trailer. That was definitely Toxin. Not sure why they had to make him green, but I guess they wanted to try to do something to make his adaptation in in the live action film more effective. I guess he even tells them about Null after soon as Dr. Payne and her assistant already admitted that they were being hunted. That one of the but that one of the xenophages ate one of their fellow government troops over by the waterfall. Yeah, that's something. Can't believe, man. Then we come to Eddie, where he finally meets the hippie family where the parents are played by the lizard actor Reese Ifans and the voice of Liz Allen from Spectacular Spider-Man, Elena Yuba. Yeah, Reese Ifans' character Martin is said to be a fond of seems says he's fond of aliens. Yeah, yeah, and then Eddie starts hitching a ride with them all the way to Las Vegas. Yeah, And I tell you, I don't know what the director was of this movie was thinking, but I am kind of. I mean, what in the world was it? I mean, some of the soon as Eddie, if you guys have watched the scene where Eddie start and where Venom starts knocking out some security guards, yeah, I don't know what the hell they were what the hell the person who wrote the script was thinking, but at least at least it was funny to see Venom knock some of these people out and steal one of their tuxedos just to get in. Yeah, and if you guys seen the trailer where Eddie has a gambling problem, Venom has a gambling problem. Yeah, it's funny. But in that casino, he meets up with Mrs. We get a surprise return from Mrs. Chen. You know, who is that small store, who is that small, who is that small business clerk that Eddie and Venom rescued from that shakedown thug in the first movie, who returned in the who returns in the second movie, having merged with Venom. And then, and now I don't know how the hell that they were able to have her shoehorned in there, bringing her back, having her look dressed up and nice and fancy looking, but at least that's something. Wow. Next up, soon, yeah, and it kind of gets crazy too. I mean, if you guys have, yeah, if you guys have seen the trailer where Venom was dancing with Mrs. Chen, yeah, 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 but wow, kind of, kind of awkward. I tell you, that dance scene Venom had with Mrs. Chen, they sure picked the most awkward kind of song for them to listen to. But of course, if soon as Venom shape shifts into his full form, that's when the xenophage comes in, moving at the speed of lightning all the way to Las Vegas to track Venom inside the hotel suite, and then it crashes the party for a bit. As soon as Venom goes back into hiding, the xenophage takes off, and then the military immediately steps in to separate Eddie from Venom, and they took him to Area 55. And poor Mrs. Chen. Wow. Yep. Of course, they were being hunted by the xenophage since it spotted them. And there they take them they took Eddie and Venom to Area 51 where they were separated. Of course, Juno Temple's character, Dr. Payne, along with her assistant played by Cam Clark, feel sorry for Venom as they understood that he and the other symbiotes were running away from Null. Well, but speaking of which, Brian was definitely one of the loyalists, one of Null's loyalists. And I'm not sure if he had the codex or what. But one thing I can tell you is that well, Null was definitely desperate when to get out of there. Soon, soon as they were Eddie, of course, in there, soon as Eddie wakes up to find himself locked inside one of those, inside the cell, he reunites immediately with Patrick Mulligan, who reveals himself to be a green toxin, who warns him about Null and the xenophage, that they must not get captured by the by the enemy. Then, soon as then the but then the xenophage made its way down into Area 55, started hunting for Venom. Of course, Cam Clark's character has secretly freed Venom and breaks Eddie out. And now the Xenophage steps in to try to capture them as it starts fending off all as many soldiers as anyone who got in its way as possible. And if you've seen what happens to Toxin, well, it doesn't go well. He and the host, ugh, R.I.P. Yeah, yeah. The Xenophage is one tough bastard, along with the rest of its kind. I can tell you that. Then they retreat into the room where they got all these symbiotes contained. And that's when they had to start freeing them all and merge. Yeah, and don't get me wrong, guys. I was kind of skeptical of I was kind of unsure what we were to believe and of what would come out, but this this part gets real interesting. Here, as soon as they retreat to the room where they got all the symbiotes, and that is when they start. That's when they start breaking some of them out and having them merge with some of the people inside. Yeah, yeah, and some of them it's hard to recognize. Some of them we haven't officially seen before. One of them, one of them was green and it merged with Cam Clark's character. Not sure if it was really Lasher, but who knows? Yeah, the Xenophage is one tough son of a bitch. Yeah, they try to hold them off so that Venom could escape. And wow, casualties to continue to rise from there as they as they vacate the cave. As they vacate the cave. Also, the hippie family made their way into Area 51 in hopes of finding aliens, and they climbed this watchtower for a view of the for a view of this for a view of the facility, and that's where they spotted Venom and people getting fleeing the place, trying to get away from the Xenophage, as the other symbiotes, the Clintar, do their best to hold it off. Sadly, and another one of them gets eaten by the Xenophage. Well, while the green one merged with Cam Clark starts kicking ass. And I have no doubt in my mind that Nerd Rogic is definitely going to start doing his anti-DEI rant about what he got out of watching this movie. But I can promise you guys, it was not fucking woke. There was nothing woke about this movie. I assure you. And it's not because they're not invincible. No one in this movie is invincible, I can assure you. Also, also the also yeah, the fight intensifies, and as soon as the Xenophage started getting overpowered, it starts calling for the rest of its kind. Luckily, Venom and the other symbiote hosts were able to save the family from falling, and they had to protect them while keeping the Xenophage away from Eddie and Venom at the same time. And God, was the fight at something. Yeah, and the fight was and looked really immense. Not 100% intense, but shocking and amazingly intense. I can tell you that. 30 minutes in. Yeah, Venom is real. Yeah, wow. Yeah. Anyway, eventually Rex Strickland understands now that the symbiotes weren't the enemy. It was Null and the xenophage. Yeah. Dr. Payne was looking to get well, Juno Temple's character, Dr. Payne, does her part in getting the family out to safety. Martin, played by Reese Ifans, played a brief part in the fight by shooting a bazooka at one of the xenophages that fe- one of the xenophages that was called down by the one that was by the leader of the pack that was after Venom in the beginning. Next up, of course, even though they managed to take out two of them, Cam Clark's character, well, couldn't survive. And boy, I wonder if Nerdrotic is going to start doing his rant comments and complaints about the human host surviving and her symbiote not getting out so luckily. Anyway, Venom, soon after being overpowered, Venom and Eddie had to make a huge, risky, sacrificial decision because these things, the xenophage, were not that easy to kill. So they had to. So Venom had. So they had to do. Venom had to do that to make the ultimate sacrifice, as they say. But if you've seen the trailer, you'll know that they come walking out, surrendering with the xenophage surrounding them. And as soon as they get out, they try to gang up on Venom to extract the codex, but the symbiote started to swallow himself, started to swallow them, and compiling them compiling them all up into him, he grew bigger, much bigger, that he needed to go somewhere that he was looking to hold them off long enough so that they could find a way to destroy them. And of course, that's where Rex Strickland, having been wounded by one of the xenophage, had to step in to get to the terminal to help Venom destroy the xenophage. Yeah, and of course, as soon as Venom got to where he needed to be, he regurgitated Eddie to get him clear, and puts a glass door on top of him because he knew what they had to do. Yeah, quite fun. Sorry about that. Then, s- then with Venom's help, Rex Strickland sacrifices himself. Well, they had to use these chemicals to get Venom himself, along with all the xenophage that he's got inside, contaminated by these dangerous chemicals, so they can get rid of them right away. And like the light of a match, Rex Strickland sacrifices himself to help Venom kill all the xenophage. Yeah, and as soon as and it created a powerful explosion, and that is where Juno Temple's character, Dr. Payne, lets out the purple symbiote, which was electrifying, and it is not Scream. I'm sorry, but it is actually the other female symbiote that appeared in the '90s Venom comics, known as Agony. Agony, and you might say that, and if you guys have actually seen Agony, and if you guys have read and watched other superhero hero films outside of Marvel, I'm sure her powers are. I'm sure you know that she never even had the speed of lightning, or was considered an electric symbiote. Yeah, she would not just lightning, but she can move super fast. Went in there to rescue Cam Clark's character, and she survived. And by having merged with Juno Temple, she was able to heal the doctor's arm. And so far, Agony is so far is the only one that survives the aftermath of this battle. And I'm not even sure if they're going to think about giving her a spinoff just to continue the story if they don't go full speed with Null being the villain for Spider-Man 4. Yeah, they could just, yeah. Anyway, Eddie, after destroying the Xenophage and with Venom nowhere to be seen, Null remains trapped in his dimension while, well, meanwhile, Eddie finds himself awake inside an infirmary where he is met by the general who thanks him for helping his troops destroy the Xenophage. Then Eddie finally makes his way to New York City, where he and Venom were planning to go from the start of the movie. Sadly, he was all alone, and the movie ends with him looking out at the Statue of Liberty. Now, this movie has a post-credit scene. Not sure if there are more, but yeah, we do see Null still lives, and he's looking to make a comeback in the future. Not sure if he's going to make a comeback for Spider-Man 4, but I tell you, folks, we will have to see whether or not Sony will stay on course as these rumors have been coming out, or if they're just going to go back to doing street level with Kingpin, Black Cat, Scorpion, and Daredevil. But we will find out. I actually enjoyed the movie. It's quite fun. My favorite part is definitely the final battle where we get to see more symbiotes for the very first time. Yeah. Agony is so far the only one that survives in this movie. Yeah, and she's like a speedster symbiote, which is obviously what you would never expect to find in the comics. Believe me, I do not recall, from what I've done in my research, I never recall coming across any symbiote character in Marvel Comics having super speed, electrifying as well. I mean, electricity is also something that symbiotes, especially the Ultimate Universe, are weak against. But her, well, Agony, on the other hand, well, who knows? Quite cool, but she never had super speed in the comics. I can tell you that for a fact. Well, I do wonder, folks. All I'm still skeptical of what Sony is about to do, and if we don't get Null, and if they're not going to stay on course with Null and just go and copy Warner Brothers back 2 years ago, having having everything be an act of deceptive marketing ploy, and then having to switch course over to something else that is not as potential or exciting and thrilling as the other. Yeah, I'm not sure how much my hype in the superhero movie genre today will continue to stand. I mean, Deadpool and Wolverine was a great movie. I'm not going to lie to you, and I am still looking forward to Kraven the Hunter in December. But so far, in the rest of the MCU, I don't know. And DC, it's already a dead brand, and Penguin's all that's left. As soon as the Penguin show concludes, it won't be on life support anymore, at least in my point of view. While the rest of the population out there, the 42 to 36% of those who don't give a damn about common sense in this world and are just so just so selfish and black-hearted and arrogant, continue to simp for these a-holes at the running the movie industry and Wall Street. Yeah. DC is already dead. Marvel, well, it is on life support. Because really, all I tell you, one thing is for sure, certain, because of how one thing is for certain guys, because of how Venom: The Last Dance movie is tracking, I very much doubt indeed that it will even surpass Venom: Let There Be Carnage at the box office. But will it break even? We will see. Depends on whether or not China and the rest of it depends on whether or not China and the other countries around the world will have their population to keep seeing the film. Because right now, because of the what the culture in Hollywood and the rest of the United States has become since the 2010s, since Iron Man 3, since 2015, since Endgame, since the pandemic, and since 2 years ago, and with some of the wrong kind of music put into these major Venom movie trailers, including more and more comedy, and some of it getting a little bit more unbearable for people to watch. I mean, what were these people? What were these people thinking? I mean, come on. Well, comedy at the beginning of the movie was fine, but in the middle of the movie, are you people out of your minds? I mean, what were you guys even trying to accomplish here? I mean, Sony, what were you people trying to accomplish here with some of the humor in the middle of the movie? I should be asking. You know, the part where Eddie arrives at the casino. Well, of what he does before going inside the casino with that talk. I mean, what were you thinking with that scene? Ugh, God, my God. But you better hope we better hope this movie, well, you better hope this movie can still break even, $360 even at the box office, because to break even, movies can't just make double their budget back at the box office. They gotta make triple their budget back at the box office. And we know Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did not, because of the reshoots and because of all the editing and shit. God, it makes you wonder what, why, makes you wonder why go through all this trouble to constantly water down all the quality in this thing, even if it's all for the purpose of consolidation and exploitation. Boy, wow. Man, it's been almost more than an hour, guys. Anyway, folks, be sure to, if you, well, we can hope that Sony doesn't, let's pray that Sony does not go the same direction with as Warner Brothers did. That I did, after all, I did say that we should fight for the really, we should start a hashtag release the circus cut movement for Venom Let There Be Carnage. But for now, I'm going to wait. Because to be honest, we are going to have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks, if not months. And who knows if they're ever going to start filming Tom Holland's fourth Spider-Man movie. whether or not it will do great at the box office or get watered down. So far, one of the fan posters I've seen may indicate a hint on who will be in it, not just Null, and not just Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, but we are going to have to see, because with DEI and ESG initiatives having taken root in Hollywood, you can bet your asses that the executives are looking to try to go as big as they can. If they do try to put in Sydney Sweeney and others, possibly the cute and beautiful Isabella Merced, and well, 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 guys, we'll have to see for ourselves on what is to come. For now, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Follow me on X. Come and join me on Discord. And have a great night out there, folks. I'll be sure to share this video with everybody on HMDS and other places as soon as they all have seen the movie. I don't want to spoil it though. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody. Be sure to catch the replay and check out more of my content as it comes. Sergeant Garatina is now taking off. Thank you, folks. And I do look forward to having you on my panel soon. My friends over at HMDS. Trust me, I am a dragon of my word. And do keep up the good work on your end, uncovering everything that's been going on in pop culture and Hollywood too. It's why I love following you guys. You've inspired me a lot. And so has Cyfex, along with Uncle T, Derek Anderson, the DA, and Tyrone Magnus, including Narendra the comic. See you around, guys.